What would I do if I hopped in the transfer portal today? I transferred from USC to Pitt at the end of 2016. In college football years, that's like 3 decades ago. Different rules, different coaches, different spots, different everything. Back then, my brother and I sat down one Sunday afternoon and ranked every single FBS team on a 3-tier bucket system. The patent for this is still pending. So I thought it'd be cool to go through how 2016 Max Browne would put schools into buckets if he was in the portal back in November of 2023. Bucket 3 was on paper, this school doesn't make sense. They either have a starter in place, they have a hotshot youngster, or back then, the factor was this is just a prestigious program, they don't take transfer quarterbacks. It's not really a thing now. There were 15 schools in this bucket back in 2016. In 2023, I got 21 schools. Running down the list, we got Arizona with Noah Fafita, Utah, Cam Rising, Mendoza at Cal, Stanford, Colorado's got Shadur, Bama, Tennessee, Ole Miss got Jackson Dart, Florida, Missouri, A&M, Iowa State, Kansas City, West Virginia, Kansas, Clemson, we got Vatech, SMU, Illinois, Iowa, and Northwestern. It's funny, looking at this list, every single school, the reason they're in this bucket is because they have a solidified starter. It's not some surface level reason of, oh, I don't want to go to this school because of it's in the middle of nowhere or anything like that. Maybe it's some wisdom in my old age. No Power 5 job is a bad job. Bucket number 2 was it's not a no-brainer, but it could make sense. I felt confident in my ability to compete with that quarterback room, but it wasn't a sure thing. Around 30 schools fell into this bucket when I transferred back in 2016. The 2023 version has 18 schools, 9 of which competition is the main concern. And it's not, oh, Max, you're scared to compete. No, it's not it at all. But if you're transferring with 1 year of eligibility left, you got to get it right. You can't go somewhere where you're going to be sitting on the bench. Insert one of you guys making a Ben DiNucci, Kenny Pickett, Pitt joke for me. I'll wear that. Hey, maybe that's a video for a different time. We got UCLA, USC, Miller Moss. He's no scrub, but there's a reason USC went into the portal to get another quarterback to compete with him. Similar to Miller Moss, Alex Orji, he's no scrub at Michigan. We got Arizona State, South Carolina, LSU. I like Nussmeier, but it's not set in stone. Houston, Oklahoma State. Gundy seems to like that group. Texas Tech should maybe be in this next group, but they got Baron Morton. With the other 9 schools of this group of 18, the concern is, can you really win 7 games? When I was transferring as a quarterback, the 3 most important factors: go somewhere where you are wanted. Are they recruiting you hard? Go somewhere where they need you. They have a weak quarterback room. And 3, you got to go somewhere you can win, because at the end of the first 3 out-of-conference games of the season, if your team's 0-3 or 1-2, team's sputtering a little bit, they ain't firing the coach. He ain't going to fire himself, so they're going to be looking straight at the quarterback. Got to go somewhere you can win. These schools included Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Mississippi State, Virginia, Georgia Tech, Boston College, Rutgers. And ironically enough, Pitt is here. And it's funny because the narrative when I was a recruit is transfer quarterbacks go there to find success. Nate Peterman had success before me, Tom Savage before that. But recently, transfer quarterbacks haven't worked out. You got Keaton Slovis making the jump from USC to Pitt. You got Phil Jerkovich, who was a big recruit, and then this Max Browne character. The fact that he wasn't able to make it work, that would give me pause. Finally, we got bucket number 1. On paper, this is a great transfer option. You like the school, you can win at the school, and they need a quarterback. I had 14 bucket 1 schools back in 2016. In the 2023 iteration, I got 22. Remember, this is me mapping it out as if it's November of 2023. So before a lot of the moves that we've been hearing about the past month or so happen. I don't think it's a mistake that almost all of these tier 1 schools already have secured their transfer portal quarterback. Let's run through the list. You got Ohio State. They picked up Kansas State's Will Howard. Wisconsin got Miami's Tyler Van Dyke. Washington picked up Will Rogers, and this one would have been close to home for me because I would have been going back home to Seattle. It's kind of what Jacob Eason did, Georgia to UW. Heading back home, that would have been dope. Maryland got NC State's MJ Morris. Michigan State picked up maybe one of the most low-key, under-the-radar quarterbacks that I like in Aiden Childs from Oregon State. You got Indiana, Duke, Syracuse, and Kyle McCord. TCU, BYU, UCF got KJ Jefferson. I almost put Nebraska in tier 2 because the question is, do you want to go to a situation where you have to compete with a hot-shot young freshman that the fan base is going to want to see play? I get the sense that Matt Rule is willing to play a more experienced guy and give Raiola time to ramp up. So that's why they're in tier 1, but Nebraska is an interesting one. You got Cincinnati, Baylor, North Carolina State, North Carolina. Oregon got 2 transfer quarterbacks. That's an ideal situation. That's a great roster. Bo Nix had success there. I can't blame either guy for going there. Miami and Cam Ward, that could be a difference maker. Minnesota, Louisville, Florida State, Auburn, Kentucky. Now, out of all the bucket one schools, where would I have ended up? I definitely think you got to do one of two things. You either got to lock up a spot right away quickly, especially for a guy in my scenario where I didn't have a bunch of tape. It wasn't like I was a Dylan Gabriel. I was a guy that was, he could have a high ceiling, but hasn't really done much yet. If a school's showing me love, I can't just sit around and wait around. I got to commit to them and let's go, which is kind of what I did with Pitt back in 2016. Or I would say let's wait until after the spring window when there's more clarity after spring ball of how the competitions are shaking out and then make your decision. But at the end of the day, with all this information, where would I have went to if it was 2023? This is going to be super random, but Louisville sticks out. I'd follow Jack Plummer's lead, a fellow Pac-12 quarterback that didn't find success on the West Coast, goes to the ACC, rises up a program, had success. He was also a pocket passer. I was a pocket passer. Maybe Louisville was the spot if I was able to travel back and be a 21-year-old or 22-year-old. The Ville. But don't get it twisted. I got all love for Pitt. Hail to Pitt, baby.